seasons. If you are interested, drop a line to BTV Productions, Post Office Box 381, Biddeford, Maine. That's BTV Productions, Post Office Box 381, Biddeford, Maine, 04005.
Top of that, swayed. 80-foot ladder was climbing up. Aluminum ladder going up the equipment. Tony going crazy. Didn't even know if we were going to go up there.
Georgia marching band. Everybody please rise while they play our national anthem.
Back at Hillstone Academy has won the toss. Now the combined bands will play our national anthem. For high school footbal, Al Sicard along with Jerry Soulard, statistician Al Coulomb and cameraman Antonio Lamo, and everything's ready here, Jer. Biddeford will be kicking off. Thornton receiving. How's the Biddeford kicking game been this year?
Okay, they've had one run back against them last week by Edward Little as John Robalsko, the fine running back from Edward Little, scampered 90 yards up the middle. But Mike Landry says he's worked on that this week. We had talked earlier in the pregame that Mike Pettit is not in the lineup, and he got hurt in the JV game, but he is addressed today as a surprise for the Tigers. The sophomore will be kicking off for the Tigers, so we'll have the normal kicking game going for the Tigers as they try to get the ball. He's been able to be consistent. Ball down to about the 5 or 10 yard line. Sophomore, that's real good, and that's been keeping the Tigers holding their opponents deep in their own territory. So as we prepare now for the opening kickoff of this 8th meeting between Academy Golden Trojans and the Biddeford High School Tigers.
Okay, David Bernier dropping deep for the Trojans along with Dave Jameson. Short man, Peterson, Stavinsky, and number 35 on the far side, Jimmy Tufts. The wind is kind of a swirling, drizzly, cold day. Wind, when we do get a breeze, is blowing from our right to left, so it'll be in the face of the Tigers. So we're ready for Biddeford Thornton football action. The Tigers undefeated at 7-0. The Trojans at 5-2. That is Mike Pettit teeing it up. Full house here at Hill Stadium. The weather has not kept any of the fans home, Jerry. Good turnout.
There it is. There goes Mike Pettit. Now he's going to be kicking off. The ball's shanked a little bit. It's going to go down to about the 21-yard line, where number 22 for Thornton Academy, Hugh Connors, has break a few tackles. He's finally being brought down by Norman Doobie. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Trojans at their own 45-yard line.
Hugh Connor had a little trouble handling that ball. Picked it up at about the 20, which is a wet spot, and of course the ball will be hard to handle, but good return, good field position here for the Trojans. They'll be on their own 44-yard line. Let's see what the Trojan offense can mount in that stubborn Biddeford defense. Timeout on the field. They're getting, seems like an equipment problem. Yes, that's Mike Cantra getting his shoulder pad straps. Now he's going off the field for a little can't play the game. The pads buckled in.
You're right there, Al. As the officials are going to have a busy day wiping down footballs or wet conditions on the field. As now number 64, Danny Michu, now in the game for the Tigers, replacing Mike Cantro as he gets his equipment fixed.
Okay, 1st and 10 for the Trojans. The excitement is in the air. Have now Jameson with Gordon and Peterson. The handoff is to Jameson, going off tackle to the right. He gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe gain of a yard, and trying to work the inside game early.
All right, Roland Jelinas, last year's Dragitas Trophy winner in the Thornton Biddeford game, come up with a tackle. He's the senior outside linebacker, one of the tri-captains. We have a pickup of maybe 1 on the play, Al. 2nd down and 9.
We'd like to thank our in-game sponsors. Been with us all. We'll continue right into the playoffs. Shaw Services of Maine, Crapo Motors, Curryman Pub and Family Restaurant, and Auto World for their support during this fine high school football season. We'll call it 2nd and 9 from the 45. Motion by Peterson. The handoff is to Gordon, who finds a hole. He'll pick up about 7 to set up a 3rd and short situation.
As on the tackle was number 61, Paul Suyer and John McEwen. As that was a nice run there for a pickup of about 6 on the play. It's going to be 3rd and 3 for the Trojans at the Biddeford 47-yard line. And right off the bat, an important 3rd down situation in Biddeford territory. 3rd and 3, we'll call it. See what Chuck Cody calls. We've got Bernier split to the left. Peterson in the slot. Gordon and Jameson in the middle. Little movement by Biddeford, but they go to Gordon, who was stopped this time. He's going to be short of the 1st down. Ryan Halzik on the tackle there with Eric Belisle and number 34, John McEwen. And so we're going to have deep now for Biddeford, number 12, Gary Doobie, and number 34, John McEwen, with the other man most likely to be Norman Doobie.
As Chris Gordon and Joel Levesque check out for the Trojans, David Jameson drops back to punt. He'll be lined up at about his own 38-yard line. He's had a good punting season so far. We'll see with this wet ball. It's snapped over his head, but he gets it away. It's a low kick, but he did everything he could just to get it away. A squibber. Biddeford will have the ball down at their own 21-yard line.
We're going to have to wait to see how we're going to have what kind of offense Mike Landry and Ron Cody will come out with. Basically, they stay in a wishbone with McEwen, Woodward, and Doobie running out of the wishbone. As Jerry Jelinas, the sophomore quarterback who's had a fine season so far for the Tigers, gets ready to lead them out of the huddle.
That time a heads-up play by Dave Jameson. The ball snapped over his head, and any guy used to handling the ball get that kick away.
Tigers in the wishbone with Donnie Goodrow split left. McEwen in motion. As the handoff goes to Woodward up the middle, he's going to pick up about 4 on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 6 for the Tigers.
Stopped that time by Stott Skabinski, who tripped him up and finally put away by Huey Carter coming up from the secondary. The Thornton defense having a big test today against that powerful Tiger offense.
As now the Tigers running the wishbone, throwing a lot of motion. They're going to throw either McEwen or Doobie in motion, and then they'll just send them out, and eventually they'll turn around and make the quick pass to him as we get Peter Anton split left. Biddeford still in the wishbone. John McEwen in motion again. As the fake goes to Woodward, the handoff goes to Gary Doobie. He's going to pick up maybe one on the play. It's going to be 3rd and 5 for the Tigers at their own 26-yard line.
And getting up off that pile, an excellent trip by Jimmy Tufts, who was down on the ground, actually blocked out of the play but got an arm up. I'd like to mention an excellent block that time by Jay Dow, who was taken out of the play. It didn't catch the Biddeford player who did it, but there's some hard hitting already in this game.
As we expected, Billy Bliss at center leads them out. Biddeford still set up in a wishbone. Donnie Goodrow split right. Motion. There goes the handoff to Gary Doobie again. He's being hit right in the line of scrimmage by number 35, Jay Tufts. No pickup on the play, so it's going to be 4th and 5 for the Tigers at their own 26-yard line.
With a second big play in a row, these kids are fired up. Tufts is only a junior, but he's had an excellent season, seen a lot of time for the Trojans this year, setting up a punting situation for the Tigers.
As Roland Jelinas is going to be punting, deep David Bernier and 22, Hugh Connors. There's a punt by Jelani. It's going to go down to about the 40-yard line, being caught by David Bernier, as McEwen was there to stop him originally, being brought down by 88, Peter, and number 80, Eric Bilal, is going to be 1st and 10 for the Trojans at their own 41-yard line.
So neither team so far in their first possession been able to pick up a first down. Defenses struggle as we expected, especially with this rain. But Thorne Academy once again with good field position on their own 41-yard line. We see if they can capitalize here.
As we mentioned, the Tigers have not allowed a touchdown this year on the ground. They've allowed 2 passing touchdowns by Rich Landry, but that's been it.
1st and 10. We have Peter to the left and Bernier split to the near side. Back is a Jameson. He can pass it. He's getting some heat. He gets it away. No flags on the play that time. Big heat by Mike Levesque, tri-captain for Biddeford, coming in, and they've had that play scouted.
Roland Jelinas and Mike Levesque both gave a lot of pressure on Jameson, where he didn't have time to set to throw the ball, as they had Roland Jelinas blitzing up from his outside linebacker position.
Jameson doing everything he can to get the ball away, and there are no flags on the play, so it'll set up a 2nd and 10 situation for the Trojans. Of course, we mentioned in the pregame, Brian Roberge has seen a lot of action for the Trojan offense, is out with a knee injury. And so Eric Peterson will see action most of the game. The handoff is to Jameson, his first carry of the day. He'll pick up 1 before being gang tackled on the 41-yard line.
As the first guy to hit him is number 61, the middle linebacker, Paul Suya. Eric Bilal and Doug Schlurth were also in the tackle. Like you mentioned, Al, no pickup on the play. If it is a short yard, it's going to be 3rd down and maybe 9.5. Make that 9.
Passing situation, so we'll probably see Chuck Cody go there for the first time. He's got a slight wind to his back. He likes to go to his backs coming out of the backfield. Peterson's in the slot. Bernier split to the left. They're going to keep it on the ground. The handoff is to Gordon. Very conservative play here in the early going. 6:37 and counting in the first quarter, setting up a punting situation for Thornton.
Okay, Paul Suya and Ryan Halsick on the tackle for the Tigers, as we're going to have John McEwen and Gary Doobie deep for the Tigers, and kicking will be number 13, David Jameson. As Jameson booms it down there, Gary Doobie going to let it bounce as the ball dies right there at the 26-yard line on the 25. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Tigers at the 25.
Thornton showing their quick punt, as they like to call it, on 4th down with virtually no huddle to try to catch the opposing team sleeping. They had good luck with that last time against Portland, and sometimes you keep that punt return, and their men haven't got set yet, and sneak one past them.
All right, as the Tigers take over now, no first downs yet in the first quarter of play by either team. As the Tigers come out in the wishbone offense with Goodrow split right. The fake to Woodward, a handoff to John McEwen. McEwen going to get a little bit of running room. He picks up maybe 4 on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 6 for Biddeford at their own 29-yard line.
Dennis Toomey and Scott Skabinski coming in on the tackle that time, and you don't want to see your secondary men and linebackers the only people making those tackles. That time some good blocks on Al Stone and Rick Redmond on that right side of the Trojan defensive line.
That's the first carry for McEwen so far today. They've been putting him in motion, not going to him, as we get Peter Anton split left for the Tigers, as the handoff goes to Scott Woodward up the middle. Woodward's going to get some running room. There's going to be enough for a first down. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Tigers down about their own 39-yard 40-yard line.
Toomey and Peterson, again, secondary men, making the stop. First down for Biddeford, and they seem to be opening up some holes now for the Tiger backfield.
As the line, the guards, Jelinas and Schlurth, and the tackles, Rossignol and Halsik are starting to open up some holes there in the middle with Bliss anchoring at center. As the Tigers are in the wishbone, staying basically with the wishbone. Donnie Goodrow split right for him as the handoff goes to Woodward again. Off to the line of scrimmage. Pick up a maybe one on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 9 for the Tigers at their own 41-yard line.
Good penetration that time by Jay Dowd, slowing down the play and allowed Jimmy Tufts to make the tackle. That's how Thornton has to work it here. Their offense has got to hold their ground, giving time for the linebackers to come up and make the stop, because you're not going to tackle these Biddeford runners with just one man today.
Tigers still set up in their wishbone with Peter Ant split right. John McEwen as the fake goes to Woodward. As the Doobies get the corner, getting the block by Peter Ant out there, but no, you got a beautiful hit by number 22, Hugh Connors. But we have a flag on the play.
Hugh Connor that time after a gain of about 3, and it's going to be against Biddeford, so they'll bring it back.
Looks like the penalty is against Biddeford. Looks like it might be a clip or a holding. That's going to be a 15-yarder for the Tigers. It's going to put the ball down about the 25-yard line, where they're going to have third, make that second and about 26, 25 yards to go for a first down.
Yes, that time, of course, in that type of play, a lot of misdirection. There they are marching it off against the Tigers. A lot of misdirection, so that leaves your lineman open for holding and clipping, so forth. So it'll be 2nd and a whole bunch. 2nd and about 22, we'll call it.
The penalty was at the point of infraction, so it isn't as long as I had mentioned it. As the ball now sits at the Biddeford High Tigers 29-yard line, as the penalty has pushed him back. Tigers coming out now. They're set up in a double wing situation with Woodward and McEwen at the wings and Gary Doobie at the fullback slot. As the fake goes to Gary Doobie, Jelani's looking to throw, getting some pressure out there, and finally being knocked down by number 67 for Thornton Academy.
Al Stone and Jimmy Tufts putting the pressure on. Stone doing his little dance. He's had a whole bunch of sacks this season, and once you get him loose, he can do it. And they knew the pass was coming, and Stone and Tufts met at the quarterback. That pushing back even farther, setting up a 3rd and 10, 20, 30. 3rd and 30.
Yeah, the Tigers are having their ball on their own 20-yard line now. Has to come up with a big play to get that first down, 30 yards. As we got Don Briggs in the game now, split right in the wishbone. Gary Doobie in. As the handoff goes to Woodward, he stays conservative down there. Pick up a maybe one on the play. It's going to be 4th and about 29 as the Tigers are going to punt with Roland Jelani's punting.
That time, it's amazing how things can change, Jerry. Biddeford, the first couple, when they picked up the first down, opening up some holes, looked like they had a possible drive rolling here. Then that big penalty pushing them way back, and everything's stalling right out, set up the punting situation.
As we mentioned with mistakes, Mike Landry does not want mistakes. Snap goes to Jelani. Nice snap by Mike Levike as the ball's kicked. It's going to go down to about the 50-yard line. Hugh Connors has waved his hands for a fair catch. It's going to roll. It's going to go down about the 41 of Thornton Academy. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Trojans.
2:41 remaining in this first quarter play. No score. Only one first down so far. That was just made by Biddeford in their last possession. Chuck Cody coming onto the field with the plays. Good field position for the Trojans on their own 41. Al Sicard along with Jerry Soulard, statistician Al Coulombe, and cameraman Antonio Lemo for this classic high school rivalry. Thornton Academy and the Biddeford Tigers. Bernier is split to the left. Peterson now in motion. The handoff is to Gordon. He'll pick up 3. And very conservative here, trying the running game, grinding it out.
Both clubs are conservative. As on the tackles, number 66, Mike Levike, and number 65, Doug Schlurth. To pick up a maybe 2 on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 8 for the Trojans at their own 43-yard line.
They've been running over their left side. Big guard Jeff Anderson. He goes about 200 pounds. So we're coming under 2 minutes left in the quarter. Bernier on, split to the left once again. Inverted I is what Trojans like to run with a lot of motion. Jamison sets the eye to the right, and Jamison gets the call. He picks up a hole, and he gets the first down and some more on that far sideline. David Jamison doing it on his own, second effort. He'll get enough for the first down and more.
As Mike, but we have a flag on the play. It might be a late hit by a Thornton Academy, and it looks like it's Dave Allen. I mean, Dave Allen, the official, has thrown the flag. So they're going to bring it back, Al. Nice pickup by Dave Jamison, who's finally being brought. 66, Mike Levike, and number 80, Eric Ballard. But it looks like they're going to bring it back.
Costly penalty on a first down. 20-yard gainer being negated. So penalties will cost you. And it's a personal foul against the Trojans. So they'll spot the ball now at the 45. 2nd and 5. So they have to make it to midfield. And we're under 2 minutes, 1:36 and counting. So we'll see if the Trojans can get that first down. They haven't had one yet today, Jerry.
That was too bad. It was a nice run by David Jamison on that play as now the Trojans look to pick up that initial first down.
That's always the biggest one. Peterson in motion to the left. And the ball, that was against Thornton Academy. Joel Levesque, the center, getting a little over anxious. It appeared that he snapped it 1 count early because everyone else was still lined up. But Cody right there to fall on the ball because Biddeford couldn't recover it and decline the penalty.
Okay, they lost 1 on the play. It's going to be 3rd and 7 for the Trojans down at their own 43-yard line as Chuck Cody came up with his own fumble.
And there was on the play. The center can move and start play without anyone else jumping on as long as the ball's in motion. Big 3rd down play, 3rd and 6. They look to Peterson and nowhere. Jamison, check that. Jamison with the carry. He loses 1 on the play, setting up the punting situation.
Defensive end tri-captain Mike Levike read the play beautifully, waited for him as he came and wrestled him down. So we're going to have 4th and 9 now for the Trojans at their own 41 as Dave Jamison will be punting. D for Biddeford is John McEwen and number 12, Gary Doobie. It's a nice snap there, better snap than the first time. It's blocked, and it's fielded by Roland Gelinas as the Biddeford High School Tigers going to have the ball, 1st and 10, down at the Trojans' 24-yard line. As Roland Gelinas, Mike Levike.
Glenn Boucher blocked the 62 coming in, and you could tell that Biddeford was sending their men. They were looking for the block.
It's going to be pretty hard to figure out the 60s with the field being muddy by. I thought it was Roland Gelinas, but it might have been Mike Levike that came up with the block. They both wear neck harnesses, so that you can't really tell them apart. But the Trojans' punt, Dave Jamison's punt, was blocked, and the Tigers now have the ball at the Thornton Academy 24 as Mike Landry's specialty teams came through again with a blocked punt. We're going to have the Tigers set up in a double wing as the quarter ends with no score on the scoreboard, Al.
No score, so we'll be back with second quarter action after we take these commercial breaks. The score at the end of 1 is Biddeford nothing, Thornton Academy nothing.
BTV Productions is in need of announcers and camera persons for the 1985 Thornton Academy Old Orchard Beach High School football seasons. If you are interested, drop a line to BTV Productions, Post Office Box 381, Biddeford, Maine. That's BTV Productions, Post Office Box 381, Biddeford, Maine, 04005.
And it's going to be a clip against the Tigers, so they're going to push it back. Good penetration on that play by Joey Beeson at number 55, who almost nailed Doobie in the backfield for a loss. But finally, Hugh Connor having to come up and make the tackle. But they're talking it over, and they're going to take the 15-yarder, which will push Biddeford close to their own, the Thornton 40-yard line.
Mistakes, that's the key. They got to keep their mistakes down. Both clubs have got to keep their mistakes down. Thornton had a punt block, which was a mistake, and now the Tigers, with great opportunity down at the Trojans' 24-yard line, comes up with a clip. We've got offsetting penalties as we've got Thornton Academy and a clip against Biddeford. So Biddeford gets a second opportunity down at the 24. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Tigers at the Trojans' 24-yard line.
What a surprise. Initial signal on the clip. That hold seemed like an afterthought. Now Coach Cody talking it over with the head linesman down there to find out what the holding was on his team. But nonetheless, it's 1st and 10 for the Tigers on the Thornton 24-yard line.
As the Tigers have come out in a double wing again, with this time they've got John McEwen at the as the lone running back behind Jerry Gelinas. Donnie Briggs is split left as Woodward goes in motion. John McEwen goes up the middle. He's going to pick up maybe 3 on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 7 for the Tigers down to the Trojans' 21-yard line.
Time Trojans gang tackling with big Rick Redmond along with Jay Dow. Jay Dow, number 14, is only a sophomore, Jerry, and he's been seeing a whole lot of playing time for this Trojan team. He's going to be around for a couple more years.
All right, as the Tigers come out now, Donnie Goodrow is going to be split left as Biddeford's back in the wishbone. Gary Doobie in motion. As the fake goes to Woodward, there's the option pitch to John McEwen. McEwen looking to make the corner. He's getting a little running room where he's finally being brought down by Dennis Toomey. But we may be play. No, make that 5 on the play. It's going to be 3rd and about 2 for the Tigers down at the Trojans' 17-yard line.
At time, good pursuit by Toomey, holding his ground and making the tackle. David Jamison tried to nail McEwen for a loss, but was taken out on the play. So a big 3rd down here. The Trojan defense over this season has bent a little bit, but they very seldom break. We'll see what happens now.
Donnie Briggs is split right as Biddeford stays in the wishbone. No, fake goes, oh! As Linus was coming down with the option, and he ran into his running back, John McEwen. So we have no pickup on the play. Maybe a loss of 1. It's going to be 4th down and about 3 for the Tigers at the Trojans' 17-yard line.
Mistakes will cost you. That time the Trojan defense was stacking up, but it would have been close to the 1st down. And as you mentioned, Jerry, Gelinas running into his own man and going down. So a big 4th down play here, and we'll see what the Tigers call.
As the Tigers are now set up in a power I. The John McEwen set up at the tailback. As the fake goes to Woodward, the counter to Gary Doobie, gets around some running room, but he's being a fine defensive play by Eric Peterson. Stops the Tigers. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Trojans down about their own 15-yard line.
Eric Peterson is a seasoned player. He's a senior this year and saw a lot of action in the Trojan secondary, making it into the playoffs. And ground was not faked out by that misdirection play and held his ground. And now the Trojans take over on their own, call it the 16. 1st and 10, David Bernier left. Peterson in the slot. Now in motion to the right. And the handoff is to Gordon. He'll dive ahead for 1. And that's the Trojans like to do. Grind it out, go over that left side, Big Jeff Anderson, and we're opening it up.
As we had Doug Schlurth, Roland Gelinas, and Michael Levyke on a tackle. Pickup of, like you said, 2. Would be 2nd down and 8 for the Trojans down at their own 17-yard line.
Round off the rest of that Trojan offensive line. We have Joel Levesque as center, Mike Harvey, and also we have Rick Millard on the right side. 8. Jamison, the 2nd man, stop for no gain.
As Doug Schlurth and Roland Gelinas again on the tackle for the Tigers. A pickup of no pickup on the play. It's going to be 3rd and 7 for the Trojans down at their own 18, 17-yard line.
8:37 and counting in the 2nd quarter of action. Scoreless here at Hill Stadium on a cold and drizzly afternoon. And a 3rd and 7 situation. We'll see if Chuck Cody goes to the air. He's yet to pass. They're going to keep it on the ground to Jamison trying to get to the outside. He will not. Good pursuit by the Tigers.
As the key man in that play was Mike Labonte, as he forced Jamison to come inside, where Mike Cantor and Paul Suya come up with the tackle. We have no pickup on the play. It's going to be 4th and 7, as we're going to have Gary Doobie and John McEwen deep for the Tigers, and Dave Jamison trying to punt again.
And he's been doing a lot of kicking as the ball's been bouncing back and forth. This first half has been running right through with people keeping the ball on the ground. Jamison will be booting into a slight wind, a low snap. He picks it up and he shanks it. It's a short kick to go out of bounds about the 35-yard line. Hits the puddle, splashes the cheerleaders. So about the 35 is where Biddeford will take it with excellent field position.
As they had another break for for one of the ball clubs. As he was a slow snap, he fielded it like a shortstop, picked it up and shanked the punt. So it's going to be 1st and 10 down to the Trojans 33. Jerry Gelinas prepares to call the signals for the Biddeford High School Tigers.
And while we've got Well, we'll keep it here. Trying to sneak a break in where this has been a fast-moving game, but we'll keep it right here. 7:36 on the clock. Jerry Soulard with the play-by-play.
The Tigers down on Wishbone. Donnie Goodrow is split left as Gary Doobie goes in motion. Jelinek going to be looking to pass. The first pass of the second pass of the game. The ball goes to Steve Shalou, and he feels it, and he's going to pick up maybe 3 on the play. It's going to be second down and about 7 for the Tigers down at the Thornton Academy 31-yard line.
Steve Shalou showing excellent hands that time. He was covered pretty well. Scott Stavinsky, but that wet and hard to handle. Did a little juggling act, but held on to it for a gain of 4. And it'll set up a 2nd and 6 situation for the Tigers.
The first pass play for the Tigers, the one earlier with Dave Jamieson in the option, as we're going to have the Tigers in the Wishbone with Donnie Briggs split left. Gary Doobie in motion for the Tigers as the fake goes to Woodward. There's the option to John McEwen on a low pitch, but he feels it. He's getting some running room when he's finally being knocked down by Dennis Toomey again. Secondary comes out to make the tackle. We have maybe 4 on the play. It's going to be 3rd and 3 for the Tigers at the Trojans' 27-yard line.
That time words exchanged by David Jamieson to Gary Doobie. Jamison's the man that shot in early on that play. He then turned to the referee and tried to get the holding call. He felt that he was held by Doobie, but no call on the play. It'll be 3rd and a long 3 as, again, another important play, but really they've got 2 downs to get this first, Jerry.
Donnie Goodrow now in a split in as he rotates Goodrow, Briggs, and Anton. He's going to be split right as the Tigers stay in a Wishbone. As the fake goes to Woodward, the handoff goes to John McEwen up the middle. As McEwen's going to pick up the first down. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Tigers at the Trojans' 21-yard line.
Stavinsky and Tom Surway on that tackle. But that's enough for the first down. So the Trojan defense, once again with their backs against the wall, they've been playing a lot of minutes here in the second quarter. 5:58 on the clock and counting. Score so far at Hill Stadium.
Time the Tigers had the ball down this area, Thornton came up with a good defensive stance and stopped them to get the ball in their own 15 as we got Donnie Goodrow split, Donnie Briggs split right as we got John McEwen in motion out of the Wishbone as the fake goes. Oh, there's a fumble on the play. As the ball's laying right there, it's going to be Thornton Academy's ball as Jelinek went to go with the option and he fumbled the ball. And I think it's Al Stone that came up with the ball. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Trojans at the 26-yard line.
A big play at that time. Jimmy Tuff had set up the fumble. The ball was loose. Stone came in, tried to finish off the quarterback, put Jelinek down, realized the ball was on the ground. Al Stone recovers that fumble for the Trojans. A big turnover here. Thornton will take over the ball on their own 27-yard line. Let's see if that fires up the Trojan offense, who I believe have yet to pick up a first down here. And reverse trap play to Peterson. And he'll pick up about 1. They had good success with that play against Portland. But again, Biddeford, some excellent scouts. I'm sure the cable channel games have helped them, and they know what's coming.
Paul Suya and Roland Jelinek were on the tackles. The middle linebacker stayed at home and waited for the counter. So it's going to be 2nd down and 9 for the Trojans at their own 27-yard line.
As the time winds down, we're inside 5 minutes here in the second quarter. 2nd and 8 situation. Cody calling the signals. He goes to the big fullback of Joe Gordon, who has a hole. He bulls ahead for the first down over the 40-yard line. Chris Gordon picking up about 10 on that play.
As it looks like Roland Jelinek was on the tackle as the Trojans pick up their first down. 1st and 10 at their own 40-yard line.
And that turnover sparking some momentum for the Golden Trojans. They'd like to put some points on the board, 4:40 and counting in this first half of action. Ball's Trojan 41. Inside handoff is to Gordon. He gets nowhere, stacked up at the line of scrimmage.
As we have Doug Schlurth there, right there to meet him. And Mike Levike. And the man on the bottom coming out of the pile is number 60, Roland Jelinek, again, as he's been in a lot of the tackles today for the Tigers. No pickup on the pull. No, make that 1 on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 9 for the Trojans at their own 42-yard line.
Jimmy Tufts now checking into the huddle for the Trojans, replacing Gordon, bringing in the play. Eric Peterson splits to the right, Bernia to the left. Hugh Connor at tight end. He can catch the ball as well, and they pitch it to Jamieson. He gets nowhere. I think he wanted to throw the ball, but no time.
Mike Levike, the defensive end, just shot right in there. Nobody touched him, and he dumped him for about a 10-yard loss, where it's going to be 3rd down now for the Trojans and 20 from their own 31-yard line.
David Jamieson looked like he wanted to pass the ball in that type of formation. They have Bernier and Peterson going out, and also Hugh Connor in the slot. It's lined up rather as a tight end. So, again, David Jamieson has not had time to throw the ball. Chuck Cody has not put one up yet.
As the Tigers have been playing defensively real well against the defense.
Chuck Cody, it looks like a broke. He gets nowhere. Another loss on the play. Gets thrown back to the 20-yard line. That time, Mike Labonte.
Labonte, an excellent play, as looked like you mentioned, a broken play. Chuck Cody turned, there was nobody there, and he started to try to run around. Mike Labonte was waiting for him. As we're going to have Gary Doobie and John McEwen deep in punt formation for the Tigers, and Dave Jamieson do the punting.
That's Trojans not being able to catch on a turnover. Jamieson shanked his last punt. Let's see if he can get a good boot away. Under 2:40 remaining in this first half. It's a high kick. Flag on the play. It's gone up to the kicker. So Thornton Academy will get the ball back. Talking to Dave Jamieson now. And
it looks like they're not going to call it, as Dave Allen explained to Jamieson, that he might have been pushed into the punter, and there won't be, as Bob Cody is now talking to Dave Allen, the official, and I guess there won't be a flag on the play, as the Tigers will be taking over the ball at the Thornton Academy 47-yard line.
Okay, so official originally throwing the flag, but now they ask for the clock to start. And I guess the ball will be spotted right where they called it. First and 10 for Biddeford. So no flag. Man was blocked into Jamieson is the call. So Biddeford takes over first and 10 from the Trojan 47-yard line.
Scoreless first half with 2:32 to go in the first half as the Tigers take over in Trojan territory again, as they're going to set up in a Kings formation. No, make that an I formation with John McEwen playing the slot. Scott Woodward in motion as the pitch is going to go to Gary Doobie, as Gary Doobie's trying to get some running room there, but it's being brought down by Jim Tuss for a loss. We have a loss of about 10 or 12 on the play. It's going to be second down and 22 for the Tigers at their own 43-yard line.
Jimmy Tuff has been having a whale of a first half here, and now the referee's calming down Al Stone a little bit. They don't want the emotions to get out of hand here. But the Trojan defense pushing it back, setting up a second, and we'll call it 18.
As the Tigers lost a lot of yardage on that play. So they set up in a wishbone with Donnie Briggs split left. As the quick pass looks for Donnie Goodrow in the middle, and it's broken up there. As we're getting a little emotions on the field as we got the flag being thrown.
David Bernier that time almost picked up an interception, but he missed it, and there was some words exchanged. And the flag's on the field. We'll see if they call offsetting personal foul.
It looks like they've thrown Dave Jamieson and Don Briggs both out of the game, as Tommy Meehan pointed to both players and pointed them to the sidelines. So it looks like Dave Jamieson and Don Briggs have both been thrown out of the game, Al.
That could be a very important break. Right now, Jamieson's on the sideline talking with Bob Cody. We'll wait for the official call on that one. That would be a tough break because the scuffle ensued after that incompleted pass, and I don't believe Jamieson was a part of the original shoving, but Jamieson might have come in and tried to break up the scuffle. We'll see what the official call is.
As I think we have offsetting penalties, it's going to be third and about 21 for the Tigers, as both Donnie Briggs and Dave Jamieson are out of the ball game right now. I don't know if they're going for the game or if they're just out for this play, as the Tommy Meehan pointing to both of them and pointing to both sidelines. The Tigers now coming out in a double wing with two split ends. They've got Shalou and Goodrow both split. Scott Woodward in motion as the handoff goes to John McEwen up the middle, and he trips up there by number 66. He picks up maybe 3 on to be fourth and about 17 for the Tigers at their own 47-yard line.
And Jamieson comes back into the ball game now, apologizing to the referee. I'll be a good boy. You just let me play the rest of the game.
They might have just told both players the game to cool off heads, because he pointed to both sidelines and says both out. As Roland Jelinek is going to be punting. Jelinek gets a beautiful punt off. It's going to go down to Hugh Connors with fair catches down about the 28-yard line, where the Trojans are going to take over first and 10 to the 28.
Okay, 56 seconds remaining in this first half, scoreless. And we've been flying right through a very quick first half of play. Capacity crowd here at Hill Stadium on both sides of the field. Field now is starting to get a little warm between the 30s. That's where the bulk of the play has been. And that was a major concern of Athletic Director Brad Leach, of course. If Bangor loses, they would have the state game here. Nonetheless, 1st and 10 for the Trojans. And that time, Cody running into Chuck Gordon on the handoff. They're calling a timeout after a gain of 1.
As he ran into his fullback on the bottom of the pile. Coming out of there is number 54, Bill Bliss, the junior. As we got timeout on the play.
And the timeout with 47 seconds remaining in the half will take a timeout and a commercial break. Scoreless after almost two periods of action.
I gotta tell Grace Winner to pick another fight with James.
3-2-1. Back in action at Hill Stadium, a 2nd and 9 situation for the Golden Trojans. Chuck Cody pitches to Jamison, who's got some room on that sideline. He cuts back in, and he'll pick up about 3 on that play the hard way, setting up a 3rd and 7.
Doug Slurth on the tackle with Billy Bliss coming in a little late. Is going to be 3rd and 7, as Al mentioned, as we have another timeout on the play, as both Bob Cody and Mike Landry advance to the middle of the field to talk to their respective teams.
And with 39 seconds remaining in the half, I'm sure Bob Cody here will try his darndest to get this first down, but it's thinking punt. Get the ball back, and Biddeford has already blocked 1 punt today, so I'm sure Mike Landry is thinking of holding his ground and maybe getting a block and a quick score up before the half ends.
As the Tigers have blocked 3 or 4 punts this year, the specialty teams, one thing that Mike Landry works on a lot during the season, has come up with some big plays from during the, as right now it's been a stalemate. Both teams are playing super defense, not allowing each team to get much yardage, as the longest run of the game was by Dave Jamison, a 20-yarder, but it was called back on a penalty. So really, they've had no real big offensive plays go yet.
And the big defensive play, there have been 2 of them, the Biddeford block punt and the fumble recovery by Al Stone for the Trojans, but neither team have been able to capitalize thus far. Landry and Cody come off the field. Trojans have a 3rd and 6 situation from their own 32-yard line. And the handoff goes to Gordon. He'll be stopped short. And a timeout is called this time by Biddeford. And we'll see if they come on this punting situation. I'm sure that's what Mike Landry is coming in. He's got a decision to make now with 32 seconds remaining on the clock.
As on the tackle was number 66, Mike Levike, one of the tri-captains. And like you mentioned, he'll probably go looking for the block again. Bad snap or something. A block gives him the ball here. Maybe gives him a couple of plays before they have to try to put one in. But Thornton's defense has come to the occasion. Biddeford got down to the 17-yard line and was stopped. So we've had some super defense by both ball clubs, and we'll have to see what Mike Landry decides to do. He is going to go back with 1 man back only, Gary Doobie, so he's got the punt block on.
10 men on the line of scrimmage for the Tigers. Now they send McEwen back, so changing their mind. Now he's coming back in. Keeping Thornton guessing and keeping the announcers guessing too up here for the cable channel. Now a quick change of men. 3 men coming on for the Tigers, 2 going off. We'll have to count them up, make sure they have 11 on the field. And it's a running play. Last minute change that time. So you've got Bob Cody going against Mike Landry. That's enough for the first down for the Trojans.
Looks like Bob Cody decided, let's go for the first down with only 26 seconds to go in the half. He got it. He caught Biddeford off guard. Biddeford had to change quickly to the defense.
Rather than risk the block punt, he saw that that's what they were setting up. Handoff is to Gordon. He gets a big hole. A big hole. Timeout is called. He'll pick up 8 on that carry. 12 seconds on the clock, and they're close now to midfield.
As Eric Belisle and number 61, Paul Suya, are in on the tackle. I don't know if Bob Cody's just trying to get into Mark Cole's range, trying to get a quick field goal attempt before the half ends. But it's their last timeout. That was the 3rd timeout taken by Thornton Academy, so it's going to be for a 2nd down and about 1 for Thornton at their own 48-yard line with 12 seconds to go in the half.
They need another 30 yards to get in range from Mark Cole, and with only 12 seconds on the clock and no timeouts remaining, that would be a tough one to call, but they did it against Sanford.
I was just going to say that. Don't forget the Sanford game.
So we'll see what happens. Both coaches are on the field. And a really excellent crowd. You always wonder, bad weather and so forth, people going to stay home, but not in this game. Any other game possibly, but not in the Battle of the Bridge here. Long rivalry going back many years, Biddeford and Thornton. Especially with Biddeford being undefeated, Thornton would like to blemish that record. And Biddeford, of course, would like to have a nice win to gear up for next week's playoff game. Pitch to Jamison. He's passing. He's looking for Bernier. He doesn't get it away. Bernier comes back. Did he catch it? It is a reception at the 31-yard line. He came back, and he caught it. No.
Dave Jamison is hurt as he was throwing the ball. He was hit by number 65, Doug Schlorth, and he's down right now as Bob Cody is looking over him. We've got 6 seconds to go in the half, but we have one official said incomplete as the ball is being brought back. It looked like he had trapped the ball, Al, and but one official saw it a different way. He called it a reception, but one of the officials on the other side of the field said it was a trap as Dave Jamison comes off the field.
So they'll bring it back. It did appear from this angle that he caught it on a short hop. It's good to see Dave Jamison up and around for the Thornton fans. He did take a hard pop, and coming into the game, Jeff Thompson now for the Trojans. It should be the last play of the first half. It's a third down situation. We'll see if they go for the whole shoot match now. Bernier split to the left, Peterson in the slot. Biddeford's in there prevent, and they're going to run out the clock to Gordon. He breaks some tackles, and that'll help the stats, and that's about it at the end of one half of play. It's scoreless here at Hill Stadium. We'll be back with the halftime show after these commercial messages.
BTV Productions is in need of announcers and camera persons for the 1985 Thornton Academy Old Orchard Beach High School football seasons. If you are interested, drop a line to BTV Productions, Post Office Box 381, Biddeford, Maine. That's BTV Productions, Post Office Box 381, Biddeford, Maine, 04005.
It's halftime at Paul Hill Stadium. Al Sicard along with Jerry Soulard, statistician Al Coulombe, and cameraman Tony Alemo on the cable channel. Scoreless first half, and the halftime show is brought to you by Menard's Oil Burners Service of Granite Street Extension in Biddeford. Give Leo and Duke and the crew a call, and they'll be more than happy to come by and make sure that your oil burner is up to par for this winter season. Before we get into the halftime stats, let's give away some tickets to Fiddler on the Roof. That's the City Theater production that'll be starting this weekend. They've got games. Listen to me, Jerry. I'm not talking about theater and games here.
I think there's a big difference between the two.
They've got performances Friday and Saturday evening, as well as a Sunday matinee. And for the first two callers that call 282 for the Fiddler on the Roof. And those passes are good for either this weekend or any of the two coming weekends. So just give a call right now, 282-08. We'll receive the Fiddler on the Roof, and we should remind our viewers that following this Biddeford Thornton football game, we've got a special half-hour show, a backstage look at the Fiddler on the Roof production. A lot of local people, and it's going to be a darn good play down there at City Theater. Meanwhile, back to football, Jerry. We've got a scoreless first half, and maybe you can tell the people a little bit about the Biddeford stats.
Okay, the Tigers had only two first downs in the first half as their big, powerful offense was stymied by the Thornton Academy defense. They only gained 16 yards rushing. Passing-wise, Jelinas is 1 for 2 for passing for 4 yards. A completion to Steve Shalou, the tight end. Penalties, Biddeford has only been assessed one penalty for 15 yards. They've run off 26 plays. As the individual leaders is John McEwen has 21 yards and Scott Wood has 16. Defensively, they've had some nice offensive plays. One by Mike Labonte trapping Chuck Cody in the backfield on a broken play, and then the block punt by number 62, Glenn Bushy. So the Tigers have been pretty well stymied on academy defense.
And both teams have been playing excellent defense as the Mighty Tigers come back on the field. It's going to be difficult calling their numbers here in this second half. And it's been a defensive struggle scoreless, and we'll be back with the Thornton Academy statistics after this word from Menards Oil Burner Service. 3-2-1. Back at Hill Stadium, a scoreless first half, a defensive struggle. Thornton Academy statistics aren't much better than Biddeford. 1 first down for TA, 60 yards on the ground. David Jamieson is 0 for 2 passing. Chuck Cody has yet to attempt to pass. 1 penalty for 5 yards. There were 2 offsetting penalties, and of course those were actually breaks against the Trojans, because if they could have pushed the Tigers, I believe 1 would have given the Trojans a first down and 1 would have pushed the Tigers back substantially. So as it came out, it hurt the Trojans. They've run 28 plays. Chris Gordon is their leading runner with 36 yards. Jamieson has 14. Cody has 4. Peterson has 1, and Sirway, who filled in for Dave Jamieson on a play, had a rush of 13 yards. So neither team really been able to mount much of an offense. I believe both teams have had drives of 7 plays. That's about as much as they could do.
As we're seeing a real great defensive battle here at Thornton Academy. As we had mentioned, the mistakes was the key, as the Tigers 2 or 3 times have opportunities of knocking one across the goal line, but had been stymied by the Thornton Academy Golden Trojans' tough defense.
That's right, and Al Stone, who had a fumble recovery for the Trojans, are about as much as they could muster. So both teams coming back on the field. We'll be back with the second half kickoff after this word from Menards Oil Burner Service. 3-2-1. Biddeford won the toss in the first half, decided to kick, and Thornton wants to receive the ball. So we have Mike Pettit teeing it up for the Tigers. David Bernier along with Chuck Cody, I see now, deep for the Trojans. Going to be Cody at his own 15. Coming to the left. Nothing but white jerseys, and he's down at the 25-yard line. And thrown down on the play by Jim Lajeunesse.
As you're right there, Jimmy Lajeunesse was the first guy to hit him as the Tigers swamped all over Chucky Cody. As it seems weird to have your quarterback back there as a safety man on the kickoffs, but he was there and he got the ball. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Trojans at their own 25-yard line.
And they're talking to both captains on the field, Chuck Cody and John McEwen. Things on that kickoff, I'm sure they didn't like that extra toss, and they're telling both captains, keep your players under control. We'll give everyone 1 warning, but after that, we'll start throwing people out. So 1st and 10 from the 25. I'd like to thank our in-game sponsors, Shaw's, Legal Services of Maine, Crapo Motors, Kerryman Pub and Family Restaurant, and Auto World for their support during this fine Class A football season. Chuck Cody, Eric Peterson in the slot. Gordon and Jamieson in the backfield. And Gordon breaks through. He'll gain about 6 on that play. Big hole opened up that time by center Joel Levesque. And on the left side, guard Rod Legenda.
As John McEwen and Paul Suya are in on a tackle. Nice run there. It was going to be 2nd down and 3 for the Trojans at their own 32-yard line.
And checking out for the Trojans, Jeff Thompson. David Bernier now in the game. He's going to be split to the left. Chuck Cody is yet to pass and is 0 for 2. And they go to Gordon once again. He'll pick up maybe 1 on that play, which will set up a 3rd and short situation.
As Tri-Captain Mike Levike and Tri-Captain Roland Jelinas are there to meet him, it's going to be 3rd and maybe 2 at the Trojans' 33 or 34-yard line.
And the Trojans definitely like to get some momentum rolling here. We've got 10:50 and counting in the 3rd quarter. Neither team has been able to put any points on the board. Scoreless first half. David Bernier splits to the left. Peterson's in the slot. Gordon and Jamieson in the backfield, and Dave Jamieson knew it. He started motion to the left. Even though he twisted his body, kept his feet there. Then he tried to freeze like a statue, but the flag came.
The Tigers almost jumped offside. I think Chuck Cody had changed the cadence around a little bit, and the Tigers lunge, but didn't come across the neutral zone, so it's going to be a 5-yard penalty against the Trojans. It's going to be 3rd now and 8 at their own 30, make that the 29-yard line.
So a costly penalty. Instead of 3rd and short, you've got a 3rd and 8 situation. The Trojans have not had any success in the air. Jamison is 0 for 2. Cody has not attempted a pass as of yet. So we'll see what happens. Bernier splits to the left. And a counter play to Peterson, who was lined up in the slot, goes nowhere. Again, conservative call by Bob Cody. Both Cody and Landry have been playing this game close to the vest.
As Ryan Halsick was there to trip him up in the backfield, so we're going to have Gary Doobie and John McEwen deep for the Tigers and Dave Jamison to do the punting.
Jamison's leg has been getting a workout. He's had a couple good ones away, and he's squibbed a couple with this wet ball. A good snap. He's had one blocked as well. He gets it off. It's going to be a short one. Good bounce, though. That'll help. And now it's down at the 39-yard line of Biddeford, 1st and 10 for the Tigers.
As the ball rolled dead down at the 39, as we have 9:43 to go in the 3rd quarter of play. We have no score on the board as the Trojans and the Tigers held scoreless in the first half. As Jelias now prepares to bring the Biddeford offense out. As Biddeford are going to be setting up in the double wings with Woodward and Doobie in the wing position. Scott Woodward in motion. As the handoff goes to John McEwen up the middle, he's going to get some running room. He's going to pick up maybe 3 on the play. He's finally being brought down by Scott Stabinski. It's going to be 2nd down and 7 for the Tigers down at their own 42-yard line.
And a sure-handed tackle that time by Stabinski. If he had broken that tackle, he had a lot of field in front of him. So a good open field tackle by Stabinski, setting up the 2nd and 6 situation.
As the Tigers are in that muddy part of the field right now, Al, the chewed up part on the 30-yard line, as Biddeford's in the wishbone with John McEwen in motion. As the handoff goes to Woodward up the middle and he's being tripped up, he's going to pick up maybe 1 or 2 on the play. It's going to be 3rd and 5 for the Tigers down at their own 45-yard line.
Good penetration that time by Jay Dow, who played off his block and stumbled Woodward, and finally put down by Beastnet and...
As Donnie Goodrow brings the play in now to Jerry Jelinas, the quarterback. The Tigers sitting at their own 45-yard line. They'll be coming out in the Kings formation. As Gary Doobie's a lone running back. As they're having some mix-ups, as the flag comes up, a delay of the game, as the running backs got confused back there what formation they were using. It's going to be 3rd and 10 for the Tigers now.
And McEwen that time tried to call a timeout at the last minute. He saw the confusion. The official did not see the call for timeout. Time had expired, so a costly penalty will set up a 3rd and 9 situation as Scott Stabinski checks in for the Trojan defense. And they're going to be playing the pass here. We'll see if Jelinas puts it up in the air.
As the Tigers now set up in an I formation with John McEwen playing flankers. Gary Doobie in motion out of the I as the handoff goes to Scott Woodward, but he's not going to pick up much yardage as he'll maybe pick up 3 on the play. It's going to be 4th and about 6 for the Tigers, or 7 for the Tigers at their own 44-yard line.
That time Woodward carried Tom Sirway for that whole 3-yard carry, a second effort on his part to get even that. So we have dropping deep David Bernier, Hugh Connor, and the short man will be Dave Jamison for this Biddeford punt.
As Jelinas prepares to do the punting with Michael Levice snapping. It's a good snap to Jelinas. As Jelinas gets the punt off, he's going to drive Dave Jamison down to about the 23-yard line where he feels it. They get the wall, and he slips. As it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Trojans, their own 29-yard line. As he's trying to make a move, and he slipped on their wet turf.
At time, Bernier could not keep his footing, and he ended up sliding right about the 30-yard line. A day like today, especially with the turf now getting chewed up, you have to worry about knee injuries and so forth. But so far, we've been lucky. No one severely banged up. There have been a few times that people have had their bell rung, but nothing serious so far as injuries. Trojans 1st and 10 from their own 29-yard line. 7 minutes and counting in this 3rd quarter. Scoreless battle, Biddeford and Thornton on the cable channel. I formation with Peterson in the slot. The handoff is to Gordon. He's hit immediately. McEwen is right there for no gain on that play.
As Ryan Halsick and Doug Schlurth were both on the tackle, also with John McEwen. We have a pickup of maybe 1 on the play. It's be 2nd down and 9 for the Trojans down at their own 30-yard line. As they're in the real wet part of the field where the puddles are sitting right there, Al.
That's it. It's making traction awfully hard, and the handoffs and so forth. See David Bernier splitting to the left, going through the puddle. And now Jamison and Gordon. Power eye. Oh, it's going to be Jamison's hit for a loss that time in the backfield.
As Roland Jelinas and Paul Suya got in there awful quick as they stopped Jamison in the backfield. We have a loss of 2 in the play. It's going to be 3rd and 11 for the Trojans down at their own 27-yard line.
And again, the Biddeford scouting reports, we've seen that play a lot this season for Thornton, and so has Biddeford coaches. And that time, the Biddeford linemen in just as the handoff was taking place. Bernier will split far to the right. Peterson in the slot, Gordon and Jamison in the I formation for Thornton Academy on this 3rd down situation. Or a flea flicker, reverse to Bernier. He's got some field. And he's going to be close to the 1st down, and it's 1st and 10 for the Golden Trojans on their own 41-yard line.
As Peter Anton came across from the other side as he was covering Dave Bernier on the other side, and he finally knocked him out of bounds. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Trojans at their own 41-yard line as the razzle-dazzle comes into play now.
Bob Cody, he must have heard us calling him conservative with the play so far today, getting a little more extravagant as the time starts to wind down in the 3rd quarter. 5:39 remaining on the clock. Hugh Connor now comes over to the left side. Bernier is split to the right. Peterson in the slot. And the handoff is to Gordon. Off tackle to the right. He'll dive ahead for a couple.
As we've got number 55, Mike Cantor, there for the tackle for the Tigers, as he's going to make that 4 on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 6 for the Trojans down at their own 44-yard line.
And the Trojans seem to be picking up some momentum with that 1st down. First extended drive here of the 2nd half by either team. And that fires up these Thornton fans. 2nd down play. 2nd man through Jamison. He'll get nowhere. In fact, he'll lose about 3 on the play, setting up a 3rd and long.
As we have Doug Schlurth and Mike Cantor there to stop Jamison in his backfield, it's going to be 3rd down and 9 for the Trojans down at their own 42-yard line.
So another big play. We'll see what Bob Cody calls. Chuck Cody is yet to throw a pass. They've gone to Jamison twice in the air, and he's 0 for 2. We'll see if they keep it on the ground. 3rd and 9 from their own 42-yard line. They pitch to Jamison. Fake the reverse to Bernier, and Jamison gets nowhere. Biddeford defense holding their own.
As Mike Levike and Roland Jelinas want fake on the play, they stayed with Jamison all the way, and they got him for a loss. It's going to be 4th and 12 now for the Trojans down at their own 39-yard line, as we have Gary Doobie and John McEwen deep for the Tigers in punt formation.
And the clock is rolling. 4:12 and counting, and the 3rd quarter is scoreless here at Hill Stadium as the rain starts to pick up a little more. It's been a mist, and now it appears a little bit of a drizzle as Jamison prepares to punt. Good snap. And he gets a good kick away. And a running, I didn't see the fair catch by Doobie, but nonetheless, UConn was there to make sure.
1st and 10 now for the Tigers at their own 35-yard line. As UConn has made a great effort of avoiding hitting Gary Doobie because he had a shot there. And the Tigers will be taken over with Jerry Jelinas at quarterback as we have 3:53 to go in the 3rd quarter of play and still no score.
And while we have a chance here, let's break for a commercial before this Biddeford possession. 3, 2, 1.
All right, Donnie Goodrow and Steve Shalou both split for the Tigers as they're in a double wing with Scott to Woodward in motion. As Jelinas going to pitch to John McEwen. He's going to look to the option pass as he's getting some time back there. There goes the pass. It's going to be intercepted by the Trojans as number 13, Dave Jamison, comes up with the interception. The tackle is being made by Scott Woodward. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Trojans at the Biddeford 43-yard line. Make that the 41.
That time throwing up a dead duck, and it was either Jamison or Stabinski. They had the grabs. They were both there. Stabinski started looking for men to block. Jamison with the sure hands picking up the interception. A big break for the Trojans inside Biddeford territory on the Biddeford 42-yard line. Let's now see if they can capitalize. 3:28 and counting here in the 3rd quarter. They fake the handoff. Cody's going to try his first pass. Has Peterson open for the 1st down and more. And they pick up 15 on that play. Eric Peterson with Chuck Cody's first reception.
As John McEwen comes up with the tackle for the Tigers, it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Trojans at the Tigers' 25-yard line as Chuck Cody completes his first pass of the game.
And that fires up this Thornton crowd. They've been held quiet all day. Scoreless game, 3-11. Thornton on the Biddeford 25-yard line, 1st and 10. Cody into Gordon, who bulls ahead for 3 yards on the play. So they're digging it out, and they're getting back into the green side of the field.
As Mike Levike and John McEwen are running a tackle, we have a pickup of 2 on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 8 for the Trojans down at the Tigers' 22-yard line.
This area has not been chewed up. Between the 40s right now is pretty muddy. And down inside the 20 here should have some good footwork. They can dig their spikes in, make the cuts. Bernier splits to the left. 2nd down situation for the Trojans. Peterson in the slot to the left. Now in motion. Now back. And Gordon picks up another 2. Off tackle to the left. And he'll set up a 3rd down, 3rd and 6 for the Trojans.
As number 66, Mike Levike, and John McEwen, 34, on the tackle, as we have 3rd and 6 for the Trojans down at the Tigers' 20-yard line, a 21-yard line.
Big 3rd down play for the Trojans, 1:57 and counting. They'd like to push one in, but the Biddeford defense has been stingy this year. That's why they're undefeated at 7-0. And Bowie Division champs. Bernier split to the right. Peterson in the slot. Now motion by Connor. Cody's coming back to pass. He's got some blockers. He's running it. He's got to be stopped short.
As you got a lot of pressure there in the corner by some of the Biddeford ball players, and number 54, Billy Bliss, comes up with some other Biddeford players. As it's picked up maybe 3 on a play, it's going to be 4th and maybe 2 down at the Biddeford 17-yard line.
And 47 checking in. That's Al Stone for the Trojans, who wears a different jersey when he's coming in on offense, setting up the 4th and short.
Chuck Cody come up a little dazed or something, and Dave Allen has asked him to leave the field. He says for an injury. Chucky's not too happy about it. He says he's okay, but Dave Allen says he has to go to the sideline. So we're going to have a different quarterback.
Steve Pate, Chuck Cody is upset. He feels he can continue, but junior quarterback Steve Plate will have to call this important 4th down situation. So Steve Pate and Hugh Connor, Cody and Eric Peterson checking out. 4th and 3 from the Biddeford 18-yard line. They have to get to right about the 15-yard stripe. 1 minute and counting here in the 3rd quarter. Junior quarterback Steve Pate got to be nervous on this important play. And he fumbles it. And Biddeford recovers the ball. So there you go. Chuck Cody throwing his helmet. Steve Pate with his first handle of the ball. And it's slick out there, and they had a miscue on the handoff. Biddeford getting a break.
That was a real bad break for Thornton Academy, having Chucky Cody been asked to leave the field for 1 play because of a possible injury that the official thought he was injured. So it's going to be the 1st and 10 for the Tigers down at their own 23 as they get a break.
And let's remind the viewers that on that 4th down situation, they had a long way to go. Biddeford had that play defense, so even if there had not been a fumble, Thornton would have been stopped, and it would have been Biddeford's ball anyway.
Biddeford and a wishbone with Donnie Goodrow split right. Jelanius hands off to Woodward up the middle. We get 1 on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 9 for the Tigers at their own 25-yard line.
Jimmy Tufts, a big stick that time, and this Thornton defense is getting fired up with that turnover going against them. Rick Redmond getting up off the bottom of the pile as well. So it'll set up a 2nd and 9 situation for the Tigers deep in their own territory.
As we have 13 seconds to go as the 3rd quarter winds down, still no score in the game as both teams have had opportunities deep in each other's territories, but nobody's capitalized on it. As we got Jelani set up, Biddeford set up on a wishbone with Jelani a quarterback, Doobie in motion as they call it time, as I think the quarter ends, and it does end, as the 3 quarters of play. The Trojans of Thornton Academy 0, the Tigers of Biddeford 0.
And we'll be right back with the last and all-important 12 minutes of this high school football contest after these commercial messages.
BTV Productions is in need of announcers and camera persons for the 1985 Thornton Academy Old Orchard Beach High School football seasons. If you are interested, drop a line to BTV Productions, Post Office Box 381, Biddeford, Maine. That's BTV Productions, Post Office Box 381, Biddeford, Maine, 04005.
8-yard line.
That time Stabinski and Dow on the tackle. Big 3rd down play. We have yet to see Gelinas put it up in the air this, well, now fourth quarter of action, 11:34 remaining in the game.
The only pass attempted in the second half by Biddeford was a John McEwen pass that was intercepted by Dave Jamison. So Biddeford set up in the wishbone, and Donnie Goodrow split right. As Gelinas is going to hand it out, fix it to Woodward. There's the option to Gary Doobie. As Gary Doobie's looking to make it around the corner, as he's going to get the first down, and he gets some running room. And it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Tigers down about the 42-yard line.
Finally pushed out of bounds by Dennis Toomey, and there weren't many more Trojan defenders on that far sideline, so heads-up call that time by Mike Landry, and some good running by Gary Doobie.
Gary Doobie in the last couple of weeks, Al, has broken one for 55 and 45. He gets that corner, he's got some speed, but the turf here at Thornton is saturated with all the rain we received yesterday and this morning, so that might be slowing up both running attacks, since Jamison and Jamison, the running back from Thornton, also has been getting some good yardage this year. As Biddeford set up in a double wing with Donnie Briggs split left. As we have McEwen in motion, the handoff goes to Woodward, and he stopped right there at the line of scrimmage for no pickup.
Big hit by Al Stone that time, doing some good penetrating, and that fires up the Thornton defense. 11 minutes remaining in this game. And at this point, Jerry, whoever scores first could have a big edge in this final outcome.
And we could also have overtime, Al, the way both defenses have been playing excellent football.
Or it could come down to a field goal. We have two excellent kickers, one on each side of the field today.
You're right there. As we get Donnie Goodrow split left for the Tigers, they're set up in the double wing. They're staying with the double wing, getting away from the wishbone. As Gelinas is going to be looking to pass. He's got some time. He's looking around. He's going to try to tuck the ball in, and he's being brought down for a loss. As he had some time, couldn't find a receiver, and he started to run. He's finally being brought down by Al Stone. So we have a loss for about 5 on the play. It's going to be 3rd and 15 for the Tigers at their own 35.
And that time, some good pursuit by the Trojan defense. Stone with a sack, but also Jay Dow and Jimmy Tausch right there as well. Trojans will give the quarterbacks a few seconds to throw, but if he's going to sit around there and wait for his men to get open, he's going to be sacked.
Okay, Donnie Briggs brings in the play now to Jerry Gelinas as the Tigers are trying to get some kind of offense going with 9:59 to go in the game. Still no score in the game. As Biddeford sets up in a single wing now with Biddeford in a single wing, and snap goes to Gary Doobie. As Doobie gets a block, and he's got a hole over there, but he's being closed quickly by the Thornton Academy defense, as it's going to be 4th and 12 for the Tigers down at their own 37-yard line.
Getting up off that pile, Scott Stavinsky and Al Stone, and also big number 77. And that's Jeff Anderson seeing some action there inside that Trojan line. Jeff Anderson and Rich Millard been anchoring most of the day for the Thornton defense.
As Gelinas prepares to punt, he's got a big rush as he kicks it. It's high. It's going to come up short, though. It's going to bounce about the 43-yard line of Thornton Academy. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Trojans at their own 43.
So with 9:10 remaining in this football game, we'll be right back with more football action at Scoreless here at Hill Stadium, so don't go away.
I'm right in the middle, still on.
3, 2, 1. Back at Hill Stadium, a 1st and 10 situation for the Thornton Academy Trojans. They've got the ball on their own 44-yard line, 1st and 10. And Jerry, time definitely going to start becoming a factor now with 9:10 remaining in the game.
It is, and like we haven't had Thornton Academy had a sustained drive going on one time, and they get stopped when they had to change quarterbacks on the shakeup of Chucky Cody down about the 16-yard line of the Tigers, and the snap was fumbled, and Biddeford stopped him, but it's been a tight defensive ball game.
Motion by Peterson, and the right side of the Thornton Academy line jumping off. So they'll bring that one back. That time, Millard and Legender on that side got a little over anxious. So they'll bring it back. It'll be a 1st and 15 situation. Check that. That was Millard and Mike Harvey, who's seen a lot of action as guard for the Trojans on that right side of the line. Joe Levesque, the center, number 61. And on the other side of things, they have Jeff Anderson and Rod Legender. Bernier split to the left. Peterson in the slot to the left. Gordon and Jamison. In the I formation, they go to Gordon. He's got a hole. He's got one man to beat. He beats him. He's got some blocks. And it's going to be a touchdown. Thornton Academy. A 44-yard Well, check that. A 56-yard run for Chris Gordon, and Thornton Academy takes a 6-0 lead.
It seems like that Biddeford had a stunt going on defensively, and they could get caught inside, and Jordan broke out and out of the open. The only people he had to beat was the secondary because the linebacker got caught inside, and it was a beautiful run by Jordan's 6-0 Trojans with 8:35 to go in the game.
56-yard run for Chris Gordon. Some excellent blocking, opening up the holes, and once he punched through that initial Biddeford defense, he had one man to beat, and he outran him for the touchdown. And Mark Cole with the extra point. He's good. Thornton Academy on top, 7-0, 8:35 left in this game. And let's take another look right now at that 56-yard touchdown run by Chris Gordon. Gordon and Jameson. In the I formation, they go to Gordon. He's got a hole. He's got one man to beat. He beats him. He's got some blocks. And it's going to be a touchdown. Thornton Academy. Back at Hill Stadium. That was a 61-yard touchdown run for Chris Gordon. I forgot about the 5-yard penalty, which pushed them back even further. 7-0 lead. 8:35 remaining. And Al Stone getting ready to tee it up for the Trojans. And here's Jerry Soulard.
Okay, deep for Biddeford all alone is Gary Doobie standing there at the goal line, as Stone has a good tendency of kicking the ball deep for Thornton all year long. And here comes the kick by Stone. It's going to come up short to John McEwen, as McEwen fields it at about the 18-yard line. They get a little running room. He's finally going to be brought down about the 34-yard line, where the Tigers will take over 1st and 10 at their own 34, down 7-0.
And the Thornton defense has to have a hold here. Biddeford wasting no time.
There's no huddle on the play. Jelinas makes a quick pass to McEwen, and they got a double pass on McEwen. Decides to run instead. He's getting a little running room there. He's getting some more running room. He's finally going to be brought down about the 42-yard line. A pickup of 6 on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 4 for the Tigers, as they came out with no huddle, and Mike Labonte was at quarterback.
And some razzle-dazzle there for sure. Alice Stone and Joey Beeson had putting the finishing touches on McEwen. And Mike Landry wasted no time in pulling out the stops here with 8 minutes left in this football game, trailing 7-0.
As he tried to go to a double pass with Donnie Goodrow streaking down the sideline, but he was covered well, so McEwen decided to run, as the Tigers now in a double wing with Scott Woodward in motion. As the handoff goes to John McEwen, he gets an opening in the middle. That's going to be enough for the 1st down. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Tigers at their own 46-yard line.
And a big stack up that time on the stop. Rick Redmond getting up off the pile, and also Jimmy Tufts. And that's enough for a Biddeford 1st down. They're on their own 45-yard line, 1st and 10. David Bernier now checking in for Eric Peterson with the Thornton defense.
As that extra point might be a big factor if the Tigers end up scoring. But right now, the Trojans are in command, 7-0. Tigers have the ball on their own 45. They're set up in a double wing with Scott Woodward in motion. As Jelinas pitches out to McEwen, as they're going to start running with McEwen, as McEwen's getting a little running room, and he's finally being brought down at the 48-yard line. We have a pickup of maybe 4 on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 6 for the Tigers down at the 49-yard line.
And this Thornton crowd is holding their breath with every play, and the Biddeford people are out on the edge of the seats. You couldn't ask for a better football game, 7-18 and counting. Thornton on top, 7-0, and now Don Goodrow checking in for the Biddeford offense.
As the Tigers are going with John McEwen going around the ends, as Biddeford still set up in a double wing. John McEwen and Woodward are in the set position as Woodward goes in motion. As the handoff goes to Gary Doobie, trying to find some running room. But getting a lot of pressure there by number 14, Jay Dow, as he sacks him for about a 10-yard loss. It's going to be 3rd and about 14 for the Tigers down at their own 41-yard line.
Big play that time. Jay Dow playing off his block. He's 6 foot 165, only a sophomore, but played some excellent football this year for the Trojan defense. Now a 3rd and 15. We'll see if Landry goes to the air. Jelinas, I don't believe, has yet to throw a pass in the 2nd half.
No, he hasn't, as now Biddeford's going to be setting up in the I formation with Gary Doobie split. John McEwen in motion, as there goes a quick pass to John McEwen, and there's Dave Jameson. Shook off Gary and dumps McEwen on the play. It's going to be maybe a loss. It's going to be 4th and 20 for the Tigers at their own 37-yard line.
Momentum is definitely behind the Trojans at this point. 6 minutes and counting left in this game. They're on top 7-0, and now Biddeford is going to be punting. Hugh Connor, David Bernier dropping deep for the Trojans, and David Bernier is the up man. Dave Jamison. It's going to be a short kick, and it's bouncing. Trojans will have excellent field position on their own 48-yard line.
As Jelinek shanked the punt, went up high and just died there at the 48. As the Trojans take over the ball with 5:46 to go in the ball game, leading by a score of 7-0 over the Biddeford undefeated Tigers.
And with 5:46 remaining in this game, the Trojans on top 7-0. We'll take a commercial break. 3, 2, 1. Back at Hill Stadium, final 5 minutes and 30 seconds of this game. The Trojans have the ball, and they're leading 7-0. The ball is fought on their own 48-yard line. Cody hands off to Gordon, who scored a touchdown. Flag on the play. Some motion again, be against the Trojans. That'll push them back. And so it'll be a 1st and 15 situation. That was a similar play that Gordon scored on. Quick hitter up the middle, and he broke it loose for the TD.
This time the linebackers for Biddeford weren't in tight, so they didn't get caught inside, but they had it offside, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. It's going to be 1st and 15 for the Trojans down at their own 43-yard line.
And the clock is stopped. 5:25 on that penalty. They're spotting the ball. Got a dry one in there. Now it's running. 5:23 and counting. Chuck Cody barking out the signals for his team. And that's Gordon. He'll pick up about 4. So it'll be 2nd and 11. So Biddeford defense getting tough here. They want the ball back with just under 5 minutes left in the game.
They've got the clock going against them right there as John McEwen comes up with the tackle for the Tigers. You have under 5 minutes to go now. The clock is against the Tigers. They're losing 7-0.
Okay, and Thornton would like to have a 1st down, 2nd and 11. They'd like to control this ball, get a drive going. They stick with the running game. And that was Gordon once again, I believe, on that play. We'll check it. Yes, it is Chris Gordon who picks up another couple, setting up a 3rd and 8 situation.
Thornton Academy right now is trying to get as much time they can off the clock, and still, if they don't get a 1st down, a good punt would put the Biddeford Tigers deep in their own territory. So right now, they've got a lot of things going against the Tigers.
And the TA defense getting a good rest here on the sidelines, but Thornton doesn't capitalize. Will be coming in on the punting situation. 3rd and 8. Chuck Cody, 2nd man through. Jamison gets nowhere. So right at midfield, the punting team comes in, and Biddeford will get the ball back with now under 4 minutes left in this game.
As the clock keeps winding down, the clock doesn't stop unless there's an incompleted pass or a 1st down. And right now we're going to have John McEwen and Gary Doobie deep for the Tigers, as Dave Jamison will be trying to kick the ball deep and keep the Tigers deep in their own territory.
Jamison has had some good punts in this 2nd half. He's got Breeze working against him, and it's a low snap, but Jamison picks it up, gets it off. McEwen lets it roll inside the 20, finally down by Bernier at the 17. Clock stops at 3:30 remaining in this game. Trojans on top 7-0, and the Tigers have 82 yards to go if they want to score.
And they're in that bad part of the field. Pre-game, where the puddles are, it's the worst part of the whole field, as the Tigers will have to march 82 yards, as you mentioned, as Jerry Jelinek now comes in and get ready to see if the Biddeford can get some kind of offense going. They're down 7-0 with less than 4 minutes to go in the game. Biddeford in the wishbone. As the snap goes, as Jelinek's going to be looking at the pass, there's the pass going out there to John McEwen. He's open, as McEwen's getting some running room, and he's finally being tackled down there at the 39-yard line. It was going to be 1st and 10 for the Tigers at their own 39.
That time, McEwen wide open. He split the zone. Thornton was playing the short linebacker, secondary deep, and McEwen split him out of the backfield, setting up the 1st and 10 for the Biddeford Tigers.
As the Tigers have got to get some kind of offense going with 3:04 to go in the game, the clock running. As they got Donnie Briggs split left, but if it's still on the wishbone, as Jelinek fakes to Woodward, looking at pass, going to get some pressure there, and the ball is thrown toward Gary Doobie and covered well by David Jamison. So it's going to be 2nd down and 10 for the Tigers at their own 39-yard line.
That time, good pressure put on Jelinek by Tom Sirway, who was blitzing in, and Jamison seems to be limping a little bit on that play, shaking it off now. And actually, with the way that ball was thrown, Jamison had an opportunity for an interception, but it was overthrew both Jamison and Doobie.
As we get 2nd down and 10 for the Tigers, 2:52 to go in the ball game. Tigers down 7-0. As Jelinek now going to try to get some kind of offense going with McEwen, Woodward, and Doobie in the backfield. With right now at split end, it's going to be Donnie Goodrow, the speedster they have. As the Tigers now set up in a correction in the eye for John McEwen in the slot. As McEwen goes in motion, Jelinek comes back with a reverse, and there's a fumble in the backfield. And Thornton Academy has recovered the ball. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Trojans at the Biddeford 29-yard line.
Tom Sirway, right, heads up play, picking up the ball. Big break here with 2:44 remaining in this game. Trojans leading 7-0. And this Thornton Academy crowd is going wild. The Biddeford people concerned they need a big play now from their defense. They got to get the ball back.
As Biddeford came up with some razzle-dazzle, and John McEwen had trouble hanging on to the ball, and the ball fumbled. There was a ball laid there for a few seconds before one of the Thornton Seaway came up with the fumble recovery.
1st and 10 for the Trojans on the Biddeford 29-yard line. Gordon off tackle to the left, picks up a couple. And they'd be content right here just to run as much time off the clock as possible.
Plus, they're in a situation where Mark Cole could come in and get the field goal and really put the game out of reach for the Tigers. As we get a little over 2 minutes to play, 2:29, Trojans have the ball, and they're running the time down. 2nd down and 8 for them down at the Tigers' 22-yard line.
And they're taking as much time as they can in the huddle. Now they bring them out. Bernier split to the left. Peterson in the slot. Gordon and Jamison in the I formation. And they go to Gordon this time to the right. Did he cough up the ball? Yes, he did. Biddeford recovers. So there you go. Biddeford gets the ball back, and that is number 54, Bill Bliss, getting the fumble recovery.
There's the break that Tigers need, but we'll see if they can capitalize on it. A little over 2 minutes to go, 2:03. Tigers take over at their own 27-yard line.
2 minutes and counting here left in the game, 7-0. Biddeford now with the ball on their own 27-yard line.
As Biddeford set up in the wishbone with Donnie Goodrow split left. As Jelinek is looking for the fly, he's throwing it down the sideline. There's Goodrow. It's going to be intercepted by number 3, David Bernier, and he's getting some blocking there, and he's finally going to be tackled down at the Biddeford 30-yard line as the Trojans get the other break, and it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Trojans with 1:36 to go in the game.
Talk about a wild game. Up and down the field we go. That time Jelinek throwing up a ball for grabs. Bernier held his ground, comes up with the interception, and Thornton gets the ball right back. 1:34 and counting on the clock. They have a 7-0 lead. 1st and 10, and Jerry, boy, is wild one here.
Super football game defensively, and the big break came when Jordan found the opening and went 61 yards for the touchdown.
Okay, 1st and 10 for the Trojans. Chris Gordon once again, and the Tiger lineman, of course, digging for the ball. And Biddeford takes a timeout. Mike Landry stopped the clock with 1:12 remaining.
As the Tigers now looks dim, as looks like Thornton Academy will get the bragging rights again this year as they beat the Tigers last year 18-14, and they're leading 7-0 right now with 1:12 to go in the ball game.
And we'd like to thank our in-game sponsors, Shaw's Legal Services of Maine, Crapo Motors, Curryman Pub and Family Restaurant, and Auto World, where there's a world of difference. Now some of the Biddeford fans starting to leave, but it's not over till it's over. 1:12 remaining, a lot can happen. Capacity crowd here at Hill Stadium. Al Sicard along with Jerry Soulard, Karen Antonio Lamo, and Staff Coulomb for this coverage. And actually, considering the conditions today with the rain and the condition of the field, Jerry, I'm surprised there haven't been more turnovers than there actually have been today.
You're right there, Al.
Okay, 2nd down situation, 2nd and 9 for the Trojans, keeping it on the ground. Going to Gordon once again. He digs out another 2. We'll see if Landry calls another timeout. He's going to let it roll. Now they do call a timeout after losing a few seconds on the clock. 1:03 now left in this game. As the Thornton fans cheer last year's score, 18-14. They have a placard down on the field. Here's the folks up here as they start victory. Last year, they remember what happened. And, of course, whatever happens here today, Jerry, that Biddeford will be going to the playoffs next week, playing the loser of the South Portland game in Biddeford.
The only thing that we have to wonder is what kind of emotions that the Tigers will be in if they end up losing this ball game 7-0. But emotions are emotions. This is a highly emotional game between the two schools. Thornton Academy got the break with the Biddeford's linebackers caught inside. Jordan scampered 61 yards, 7-0. And right now the Tigers have got their backs against the wall. We got 1:03 to go in the game. Thornton has the ball at their own at the Biddeford's own 27-yard line.
And it's a third down situation, 3rd and 7 from the 27. Chuck Cody bringing them up. They've been going to Gordon, who's the fullback, the workhorse. Scored the touchdown. Chuck Cody hurt his hand on that handoff. He's holding it. He's holding his arm. He's holding his arm, shaking it off. There was some contact between himself and Gordon on that handoff, and he's hurt. It's a cold day out there, and you feel, but of course his hands and arms are uncovered as Mike Landry calls another timeout with 58 seconds remaining.
That was Mike Landry's last timeout, so if they do stop Thornton right here, they're going to have to come up with some quick offense with only 58 seconds to go in the ball game, and them losing 7-0.
And don't go away. It is 7-0, and an important 4th down situation. We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
BTV Productions is in need of announcers and camera persons for the 1985 Thornton Academy Old Orchard Beach High School football seasons. If you are interested, drop a line to BTV Productions, Post Office Box 381, Biddeford, Maine. That's BTV Productions, Post Office Box 381, Biddeford, Maine, 04005.
Here at Hill Stadium, these fans are staying put. The fans that have left from the Biddeford side, Jerry actually went over to try to get close to the exit to beat the parking rush.
You're right there, Al.
They're staying around. 58 block, big 4th down play for Thornton. And they go to Jamison, who's got to be stopped behind the line of scrimmage. Big stop that time for the Tigers, who now take over the ball.
As there's not on a play, as a Biddeford team now hustles to get there, to get set up on the line of scrimmage. As the clock is stopped because of the change of the possession, we got 53 seconds to go in the game.
David Jamison a little bit shook play. He's back in the secondary now, trying to shake it off.
As the Tigers now set up with John McEwen, the lone running back, them set up in this double wing with Woodward in motion. As the fake goes to, Jerry Jelinas is going to be sacked for a loss by Jay Dow, who's had an outstanding game defensively with Thornton Academy. We've got 38 seconds to go. The clock is running, and Biddeford's trying to set up some kind of offensive formation right now. As stays in, as they stayed up again, a double. As we got a motion penalty on Gary Doobie.
That'll stop the clock with 20 seconds remaining. The Tigers are razzled here, being pushed back now inside their own 15-yard line. Spot the ball at the 13, and just got to throw up some Hail Marys now. Thornton in the prevent.
You're right there, as they're going to be looking to get the big play. They need the big play right now with 23 seconds to go as Jelinas looks to throw. He's going across the middle. The Goodrone's being intercepted by number 13, Dave Jamison. As Jamison scampers down, he's finally being brought down to the 2-yard line by Scott Woodward with 12 seconds to go in the game. And it looks like the Golden Trojans have upset the Tigers 7-0.
Dave Jamison with the big play all season, putting the nail in the coffin here for the Trojans. The ball be spotted on the 2-yard line. He wanted to take it in. He could smell goal line, but a good play that time by the Biddeford man prevented the touchdown.
As right now, we're going to see if what they'll probably do is just have Chuck Cody fall on the ball, because touchdown doesn't mean a thing right now. They're ahead 7-0. They got 12 seconds. They probably will now try to gamble the handoff and a fumble to give Biddeford one more chance. So what we'll probably see is them come out of the huddle. They'll start the clock because on a change of possession, and you'll see the clock run out.
And of course, with a game like this, both teams will remember this: 7-0. 12 seconds left as the fans start to file onto the field, and that's going to be a delay of game. That's going to be a delay of game, pushing them back, so they won't even be thinking touchdown now. And of course, if you dare to run up with a score in the Biddeford Thornton game, boy, you better hold on to your head the following year.
As we look across the field, the Biddeford High School Tigers look very dejected over there, as they're going to lose their first game of the year, going 7-0 going into this game, as the Trojans have the ball with 12 seconds to go, winning by a score of 7-0.
Chuck Cody coming back and falling on the ball as the clock winds down. 6, 5, 4. Fans coming on to the field. Thornton Academy will finish the season 6-2. Biddeford will be 7-1. Biddeford, the Bowie Division champions, will play the loser of the Portland-South Portland game next week in the first round of the playoffs. And both teams, Jerry, have nothing to be ashamed of. It's been a hell of a season for both schools.
You're right there, and the Tigers do continue next week as they take on the loser of that South Portland game. And if this was Bob Cody's final game of his career, he won himself a big one, defeating the undefeated Tigers by a score of 7-0 on an excellent defensive struggle by both teams and the big play by Jordan, who went 61 yards.
Chris Gordon with the big 61-yard run from scrimmage, the only score of the game. Mark Cole with the point after touchdown as the fans and players meet on the field. Final score from Hill Stadium, Thornton Academy 7, Biddeford nothing. We'll be back with the post-game show after these commercial messages. Hill Stadium with the post-game show, brought to you by the Main Linoleum and Carpet Company, Alfred Street in Biddeford, the home of expert installation. It was a tremendous game here, and Thornton ended up winning. Bob Cody there with a game ball, I say. This could have been his final coaching game, and he's got the game ball under his arm. That would give me the impression, Jerry, that could be it for Bob Cody, going out in style with a 7-0 win.
If it is, it's an ending of an excellent career by a coach that started back in the 50s at St. Louis and Biddeford and had winning seasons and has made some great programs here at Thornton Academy. I'd like to mention that it was a Super Bowl game. You're looking at a team that beat Biddeford, who ends up the season 6-2, not in the playoffs, where you got a Bangor 10-3 in the Northern Division, the parent division, that's going into the playoffs. Thornton's only 2 losses of the year have been to the 2 teams that are undefeated that will be playing off against each other Monday, Portland and South Portland. So Thornton's had a real good season, an outstanding season for a team that lost a lot through graduation last year.
And maybe Biddeford 7-0, a lot of talk of not having as tough a schedule as they could have, not playing Portland or South Portland. Maybe this is what they needed to really gear them up for that important playoff contest nenext week.
The only question mark would be is how emotionally the Tigers will be hurt by this loss. If they can bounce back against the Portland-South Portland next week, I think that the people are going to realize, hey, you know, mistakes happened today. Biddeford had their opportunities. Twice they were inside the 40-yard line. Once they were inside the 20-yard line. Couldn't punch it in. Then Thornton got the big break on Chris Gordon's run up the middle, went 61 yards, and that's the break that they needed. Defensively, both teams played super, but Thornton Academy come up with the bigger plays.
And we'll be back with the individual statistics for both teams right after this word from the Main Linoleum and Carpet Company. 3, 2, 1. Back with the post-game show, brought to you by Main Linoleum and Carpet Company, Alfred Street in Biddeford. As the fans file off the field, Thornton Academy winning the game 7-0. And Jerry, let's run down the Biddeford stats
before we get blown away up here, right? The Tigers had only 5 players. Their powerful offense was stymied by the great defensive play of Thornton Academy. They only gained 26 yards rushing. Their passing they were 3 for 8 for passing, with 4 passes intercepted by the Thornton secondary for only 24 yards. They ran off 51 plays, had 2 penalties for 20 yards, and 5 turnovers. The leaders for Biddeford, John McEwen, only gained 30 yards today as he was stopped. First time that John McEwen also didn't score a touchdown in the ball game. And Scott Woodward had 24. John McEwen had one of the receptions for a 22-yard gain.
And on the Thornton Academy side, it's a big scoring play by Chris Gordon, 61-yard run from scrimmage, and that was all the Trojans needed today. 3 first downs for TA, rushing 152 yards, and passing, Cody was 1 for 3. and for 17 yards, and Jamison was 0 for 2. They ran off 56th place. They had 4 for 20 yards and only 1 turn. And Gordon was the leading rusher with 130 yards, and of course 61 of it coming on that touchdown run. Bernier with 13, and Sirway with a 13-yard run as well. So those are the leaders for Thornton Academy. They end their season at 6-2, and Biddeford is 7-1 heading into the playoffs. And Jerry, we'll wait and see what happens next week over in Tiger Country.
It should be an excellent ball game. They'll be playing one of the Portland schools, the powerhouse of South Portland, and once you get into the playoffs, anything could happen.
And they have not met either team yet this season, so it'll be a very interesting contest. Either way it goes, Portland or South Portland, they're both fine teams. I've seen them both here against the Trojans.
As Trojans, those are the only 2 teams that the Trojans lost to all year.
Exactly, and we'll wind it up. Al Sicard, along with Jerry Soulard, cameraman Antonio Lamo, and statistician Al Coulombe. The final score from Hill Stadium, the Thornton Academy Trojans on top, 7-0. Have a good day.